Season 2 of Loki is going decently till now, and its latest episode, episode number 3, introduced Victor Timely. Now this posed a very interesting question in everyone's mind. Is Victor Timely he who remains? Let's try and decode this question in this video.
Excusez-moi, mademoiselle. Minutes.
He who remains. Jerk.
To understand He Who Remains' connection with Victor Timely, we must first understand the timeline of them. At the start of the third episode, we see Ravonna Renslayer enters the year 1868 of the sacred timeline. Now this is going to be important, sacred timeline. Then Miss Minutes tells Ravonna to drop the TVA handbook through this little kid's window, who grows up to become Victor Timely, a scientist and sort of a con man.
That we need to put this package in that window.
But notice what Miss Minutes says. She says that this was his plan when he knew everything is going to end.
This was the plan he made when he knew the end was near for him.
So what does this imply? This implies that this was a backup plan from He Who Remains to either get back on top of the TVA or just have a system in place by which someone else runs the TVA and he who remains can still come back and do some other shit as he planned. Moving forward, Loki and Mobius arrives in the year 1893, but in the branch timeline. Now what does this say? This says that when Ravonna passed the TVA handbook to this little kid, this was a Nexus event and hence this became a branch timeline. So what is this big plan of He Who Remains, and is He Who Remains Victor Timely? The answer is no, he is not. He is just a person selected by He Who Remains to either save the TVA and bring him back or some other shit as we discussed earlier. But the main thing is, why Victor Timely cannot be He Who Remains? Well, their timeline doesn't add up. To answer this, we will have to go to the final episode of season 1 when He Who Remains explains everything about the Multiversal War. He says eons ago, in the 31st century, a scientist figured out that there were multiple universes stacked on top of each other. That means there is no sense that Victor Timely could be He Who Remains because the timeline itself doesn't add up. No Kang variant should exist in 1800s. And he also mentions that he himself stopped the Multiversal War with the help of a creature called as Alad, and further he went on to create the TVA. That means at this time the TVA is already created. But again, is Victor a variant of Kang? Because Kang can't exist in the 1800s, right? And also if he is not Kang, why does he look so similar to every variant of Kang, and he also has that no partnership trait? I think Victor Timely could just be a variant of Kang who was planted by He Who Remains in the past as a backup plan for when he thinks the end is near for him. Now this makes a lot of sense, right? But one last question. Why Victor Timely? Why no other variant of Kang? To answer this, let's go back to the conversation of the first season. He Who Remains mentions that at first when many Kangs visited each other through multiverse, it was for collaboration and for sharing technology. But some of the variants were not keen on it. For some of the variants of Kang, new multiverses only meant new territories to conquer. That means not all Kang variants are good and not all Kang variants are bad. So basically Victor Timely was a good man who doesn't want to conquer like other Kangs.
Excusez-moi, mademoiselle. Minutes.
And by the looks of him in the recent episode, he does look like a good man, but you know it's Loki and it could surprise us altogether. But anyways, please tell me in the comments what you think about this theory, and let's start a conversation in the comments as well. Thank you so much for watching.